we go.
Here we go.
And we're live.
Good. Excellent. Annie just comes in here and just works like a mad lady getting everything running. Actually, you wouldn't believe what I did today. Just, yeah, here you go.
You did it all.
Amazing, too. I would have never been able to do any of this stuff without her. And so, how you guys doing? I hope everybody's doing well. I do need to pull up on my phone just so I can see the chat, or Annie can keep me informed, or whatever. Just make it work. Have a good day. Make the most of this, and let's make the most of a good show. We just kind of want to go back over basics and just kind of do a quick review of what we've talked about, and just go back and just kind of remind people where we're coming from. I think it's good that if you can't get back to the basics of what we're trying to help people to understand, that it's what are we talking about? We go off on tangents, and people are like, how did he do that? Where did that come from? What's that information? So we need to get back and just kind of make sure that we just review periodically, just to bring things back into perspective. I always like to start with the U version verse of the day. Today is Matthew 5:3, and what's that from the Jesus's famous Sermon on the Mount. But blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom in heaven. So how many people are poor in spirit today? Huh? Wow, we could talk about that for a while, couldn't we? I think we have. I think we've reviewed it. I think we've talked about those thoughts. I think we've talked about how to channel those thoughts, how to bring those thoughts back to awareness and where you are, and not letting those thoughts ruin and control your mind, and just not run with them. How many don't let those scenarios run in your mind that you just let create that aren't even happening? Gets us all nowhere. And so let's kind of try to stay present. And I do it myself. I think we all do. And hopefully that we can, but blessed are the poor in spirit, and just right now, I pray for Israel. I think what's going on there, I think we just need to be aware any time that war is escalating, and I just hope that we stand in there with them, and just know that it's those are God's people. So let me pull up in here and find my social YouTube so that I can pull it up, and if anybody's starting to say hello, I can see the chat. Annie keeps it on the computer. She runs the main computer, and so she gets to see that stuff. And it's best because as I do it, you can see I get lost in here, and I just kind of see, and I don't want to listen to myself. So Marty D, good morning. Carolyn, you're on. Good job. Good morning. I thank you. I think Carolyn made a comment of making that that zucchini frittata that we made that day. Annie, remember that?
Oh, it was delicious.
Yeah, that is so simple too, people. Just so simple. And we just made that, and just, oh, that was yummy. So, but we should sometime get Chris to start doing cooking shows, but that'll be a whole other ordeal and direction when we start doing those type of things, pre-recording them and putting them out there. Annie and I are talking about what do we do? What do we, what do we want to bring out? What do we want to share with you guys? How do we want to keep making this information available? How can we best just optimize, your ability to understand how to apply some basic principles that says, hey, health is available, and it's not through buying several $100s worth of supplements every month. It's through the diet and lifestyle that you choose. And what you're learning is when we talk about, well, lifestyle and diet, shouldn't that be individualized? Well, heck yeah, it should be. And we want you to understand that you can test yourself and know if you're eating the right foods. It's that simple. So we've gone over the numbers, we've explained patterns in the numbers, and we are so stinking close to having a book that just gets out there, health by the numbers, restorative health by the numbers, because your body restores constantly, doing everything it can to at this very moment. How many of you are as healthy as you can be based upon the environment that you've created for your body. Everybody should be raising their hand. You know, you are as healthy as you can be right now. And so, and if you're not, if there's something going on, then analyze and understand why. What's deficient? What's excess? What do I need to support my body in order to eliminate? And how do I identify what it needs? You know, and so that's the key of what we're talking here is an analytical perspective to say, hey, this is where my body is. This is where my efficiency is. If I increase my efficiency, I do better, period. I'm generating more energy than I'm using, so I'm restoring. My body's going to fix itself. It's going to be as healthy as it can be based upon the work that you're doing to create that right environment. And so your internal terrain adapts and constantly is adapting to the stressors of what's going on and the ebb and flow of energy throughout your body, and where it's getting stuck and where it's, you know, just burning through because there's too much of it. And so we help you to identify those patterns and say, how do we break them? You know, how do we get out of this? And so we go back to these basics of, you know, and it comes down to testing. There's bottom line. If you can sit here and ask me 100 questions and, or ask any 100 naturopaths the same question and get 100 different answers on how to approach it. But if you look at a set of numbers and you understand the basics behind it, there's a, hey, based upon your height, your weight, here's what you should probably start with. And that's what we're trying to do, is give an outline that says, this is analytical. If you need this, you need this. Let's give it to you. And then let's remeasure and see how your body responds. And does your body accept it? And can your body use it? And how does your body like it? And does your body handle it? You know, because I've had people who want to detox. Oh my God, short-term crappiness. Let's get this stuff out of me. But if you can't handle the detox, guess what? That detox really sucks. It does. It's no fun. And it'll put some people in the hospitals. And so I don't want to do that to people, you know. And I had a lady come in 2 days ago. Nope, yesterday. And two of my clients yesterday, and their patterns are going. It was one of them was their first follow-up, the other was their second follow-up, and their numbers are going into a detox pattern. I'm like, hey, now's the time to do some saunas and some foot baths, and your liver's getting a little bit sluggish. We're going to watch it. We're going to consider whether you need to do a gallbladder liver flush and clean it out a little bit. But let's do what we're doing. You know, you need a little bit of magnesium. Those nitrates are coming up. You need to help get them out of your cells and support. You're probably having some muscle cramping and restlessness at night. Yeah, I am. You're probably having a little bit of fog brain. Yeah, I am. You're probably a little bit irritable. Yeah, I am. Well, that's what happens. You can look at the numbers and tell it. You know, and so you just turn around and say, now we want to support your body to get it out. So that's kind of where we come from. So let's see. Christine, Just Leah, Truly C. Can't wait for the book. Thank you, Diana. Good morning. Rudy, good morning. Excited for the book. I think I am too. You know, I think many of you are expecting a book that tells you exactly how to read your numbers and exactly what to do with your set of numbers. And that's not what the book is. This is not. The book is more of, let me help you see and understand how all this works. And let me give you a baseline of how you can start changing your diet and how you can monitor yourself to start making those changes. And Annie's already putting, you know, Doc, now we got to do application. And we have to really make it step by step for people. And so, you know, before we even get the first one out, she's already pushing me to start thinking about the second one. So vacation time. Let's go and write a book. Right? So, Annie, you going to comment today?
Maybe. I think vacation to write the application book sounds great. Summer break.
Time for a break. I think we all need breaks. So, what if you don't have a gallbladder? Then you still flush your liver out because your liver can form stones in those ducts. So, yes, you know, I had a friend who had, you know, he had a history of esophageal cancer, and he had these spots on his liver. And and he's like, well, then now they think it's liver cancer and metastasized to the liver and blah blah blah. And after a couple gallbladder flushes, guess what? The spots were gone. Wonder what happened. Maybe a little bit of a hardened stone was in there. And so that spot that looked white on the liver was something harder and more dense. So it showed up on an x-ray as something that's more white. And then all of a sudden, it disappeared. Wow. Healed, cured, miracle. Not by me. I don't cure people. You guys cure yourselves. It's all just get in the right pattern, and it does. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go over a little bit of review, and I'm going to have Annie turn around and start throwing up some things. And let's start with the restorative health model, because when we're looking at this, we have to understand there's a basics to where we're coming from. And that basics is that your body does restore. And so when you look at this model, and she's going to pop it up here, start on the left. And so it says you have a threshold. And when you exceed that threshold, you get symptoms, period. Hey, and then, in natural medicine, they teach it as the total load theory. So that total load is stress. And how many of us have stress? What is that stress? Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, environmental, microbial. What is your body bathing in, breathing in, drinking in, eating in? And then what's the imbalance of the microbes that are already in you based upon the terrain that's inside of you? Okay, where are you? Let's talk about Ephesians, and that this world is a battleground for good and evil. So spiritually, where are you? Where are you with, accepting what's real and accepting those thoughts that continually run through your mind that create stress that are never even going to happen? Oh, I'm going to go see Aunt JoJo today. Now let me run through my mind 1,000 things that she's going to talk about and 1,000 ways that I need to divert to get out of the conversation, right? But it never even happens. But you already planned for all this huge, elaborate stuff that, Uncle John and whoever, that these interactions that are going to happen, you create this stuff in your mind that's already stressing you on something that doesn't even occur. Be present, become aware, work on it. It's a challenge. Okay, but you exceed your threshold. And then there's this black line that says 5-phase health mentality. Wow, what is that? Right? So pop up the 5 phases. And so when you turn around and you think about the 5 phases, it's not a magical step-by-step approach. It's a basic aspects of how we should interact with the lifestyle of where we are in this world. So phase 1, pure environment, pure air, pure food, pure water, EMF protection. Just let's look at what you're interacting with in your lifestyle. Your cells are as healthy as they can be based upon what they're exposed to, what they have to deal with. Are you good? Are you bad? Can I deal with you? Can I not? Can I use you, or are you a burden? So clean up your lifestyle. Phase 2, test. No. Let's see, what are you reacting to? Let's look for food, chemical sensitivity. I love electrodermal testing, EAV, electroacupuncture by Vol. You can extrapolate EAV and take it a lot further than just testing for food and chemicals. Same with radionics. If you get the right radionic practitioner who can go through and do assessments of where you are and what you're reacted to. Some people use those simple ones where you put your hand on, the Zyto and stuff. And just to get a baseline of like, oh, I'm reacting to 1,000 microbes. It doesn't, it doesn't mean that all those microbes are in you causing horrible things. What you're doing is you're picking up an electrical ping that says, hey, we're getting an imbalance here and saying that this is present. I love the F-scan out of Switzerland, and it's called a dirt field, and you can scan yourself through a series of frequencies. And if it pings on that frequency, you can treat that frequency back to negate it because it's all physics. you know. But bottom line, phase 2, no, test. What are you reacting to? What are your particular burdens? Do you have heavy metals? Do you have environmental toxicities? Do you have food allergies and sensitivities? More than likely. RBTI testing, learn to understand what the patterns are starting to tell you. Phase 3, support. Okay, so when you support is not mean I need fish oils for my brain and I need CoQ10 for cellular energy and carnitine for cellular energy and I need adrenal support and 10 adaptogens to take every day so I can get through my day and I need thyroid support and taking tyrosine or phenylalanine and cofactors. No, support means how can you identify the basic needs of the body? And the only person who broke it down to the composition of the body that I know of was Dr. Carrie Ream saying, hey, we need minerals, people. And you are a soil, 60% calcium, 24% phosphorus, 12% potassium, 85 trace minerals. And let's the balance of that soil depends the balance of energy efficiency in your body. So you start giving the body the basic vitamins, the basic minerals it needs, and then phase 4, detoxification. If you lower the total load on the body, if you remove the burdens from the body, you support the body and raise your threshold, the body starts to detox. And phase 5 is self-awareness. So if she goes back to the restorative model, I'm going to keep you on track here, Annie. And so if you go back and look at the restorative model, boom, we start this 5 phase. And as you start the 5 phases, what happens? You see the symptom picture coming down. You see the threshold go up to an optimal threshold. Why does the threshold go up? Because now I'm giving the body what I can identify as deficiency. So we address deficiencies. So your energy threshold is basically where you're consuming more energy than what you are getting, or where you are, what Ream says is that you're consuming more energy than you're getting from your food. So that support on phase 3 also means food, people. What foods are you eating to improve efficiency to get the minerals that you need? So as your threshold goes up, you start taking the correct minerals. Reams talked about everything is an energy evaluation. So you're building what he called as reserve energy. Reserve energy goes up, and then that drain comes on, and you start to detoxify. Natural part of the process. And that's where I was telling you about these 2 clients yesterday came in. Hey, you're in a detox pattern. Well, what do? Well, now's the time you get in a sauna, foot bath. You probably should consider a gallbladder flush. They're not fun, but this is when you're going to do it. Your body will be able to handle it. You need a little bit more magnesium. You need to make sure you're drinking your water. The bricks and the conductivity are going up. Your sugar to salt ratio is a little bit elevated because you're dumping crap out of you. So if you have a refractometer, get that bricks down because it's up. You start to detoxify. But notice when symptoms drop down to that red line below the optimal threshold, in between there is a restorative range. Well, why do I still have symptoms in the red range? Wait a minute. My body's restoring. Why do I still have symptoms? Because it doesn't happen overnight. And those symptoms are a guideline that say, wait a minute, why the heck did I go out to Red Lobster last night and eat that massive seafood load and all those mussels and that lobster, and I feel like total crap today? Wow, maybe there's a connection. Those symptoms are telling me something. I'm aware. Woo! Stop laughing at me, Annie. So you can take off the restorative model and say, well, what am I doing? I need to monitor myself. So how do I monitor myself? We look at the variables. Let's start with bricks. Check your sugars. Why? Because when you're measuring that bricks is telling you whether you're optimizing your oxygen availability, and that tells you whether you are in the range to where you're going to optimize and maximize your potential energy. It is the one factor that is going to dictate most of the symptoms that we have. Sugar crashing stinks, people. I do it all the time, but I know how to get myself out of it. And then I know what I feel when it starts to come on. And I know that I need to excuse myself from a consult and go eat something in the kitchen and then come back because I don't want to crash. I know how to stop it. So when you're looking at that and you get that bricks between that 1.5 to 2, you're maximizing the potential energy for what's available to you to where oxygen is available, because that liver has to have oxygen. It has to have water. It has to have calcium. It has to have trace amount of iodine. It has to have a trace amount of iron. And we get these things through our food. But that bricks is telling you, am I drinking enough water or am I drinking too much water? Am I eating foods that I shouldn't eat, and watch it spike up? Because if you look at those low oxygen symptoms that go along with it, they stink. And the high ones, they're not much better. But I tell you, people who have low sugars and you get them to start doing things that put them slightly in the high sugar range, they don't care because, wow, I can deal with it. This is nothing compared to what I'm used to. Hey, it still could be a little bit better. Learn your patterns. Every time you pee, check that refractometer. See where you are. Am I drinking enough? Am I drinking too much? Did I eat something that I shouldn't and I just spiked above 5.5? Am I eating something that I'm intolerant of and it's staying about 4? I'm not drinking enough water to flush it out. Am I eating sugars that are crashing me out and causing oversecretion of insulin? And boom, I'm bottoming out, and that bricks is going down to 0.5. Dang, I better eat something different. I need some protein in my diet. I need to turn around and maybe have a different juice or something in there. I need to eat light, regular meals. I need to get this bricks control because I can't think. It's that simple. So then you go to the pHs. And the pH is saying, hey, here's a measure of resistance. Resistance, the more resistance, the slower things go. So the higher the pH, the slower it is. And the higher in the body you see symptoms. Or the lower it is, the faster things go. So you look at bowel patterns. But low pH, you're in the DE range. Boom, I'm getting diarrhea. I'm getting loose stools. I have pelvic issues. I have crappy menstrual cycles. I have prostate issues. I have sore, aching knees and lower back pain. I have high pH. Wow, alkalize or die. Yeah, I get constipated and can't breathe, and sinus issues and sore shoulders and neck all the time, and you can't focus and think. It's not, the ideal is that when you get that pH in that A range, 6.3 to 6.6, electrochemically, Reams is talking electromagnetic quantum approach to your body, energy-wise, that at that pH of 6.4, that things can electromagnetically swing to be cationic or anionic based upon the environment in the body. And that's why our body is made of about 80% water, because hydrogen and oxygen are isotopes, meaning that they can swing cationic or anionic and change electromagnetic rotation based upon the environment. So that urine pH is telling you how well you're doing overall. The saliva pH is telling you the strength of your bile and how well you're digesting. And that urine pH is telling you, what foods do I choose? Because if you're too low on that pH, you're in the DE range, so you need to eat more DE foods. If you're too high, above that 6.6, then you're in the BC range, then you need to eat more BC foods. It doesn't mean only eat them. It means I need a higher ratio of them. So then we go to conductivity. And conductivity is looking at the aspect of that energy ability to get where it needs to be. It represents salts. And there's a ratio of sugar to salts that's shown ideal. If you look at the perfect equation, that sugar to salt ratio is 1 to 4.3. But functional, it's 1 to 5. And if you get high sugar to salt ratio, that salt acts like electrostatic energy inside your body all the time. Nervousness. I gotta go. What am I doing? On edge, sympathetic dominance. Gotta do something, gotta move. I'm nervous. Oh my God, is someone behind me? What's going on? I hate this traffic. Get out of my way. Think about it. I got Andy laughing today. And so you look at the symptoms: high excess conductivity, nervousness, anxiety, on edge. You get thick body fluids. Your blood agglutinates. You get low oxygen. I can't think. The heart gets stressed because the sugars and salts correlate. So if the salts are really high, the sugars are high. So decreased oxygen, thick body fluids. What do you think that does to your heart? That's why your liver starts to produce excess cholesterol. Let me make this slide through here a little bit better. Let me thin these body fluids. Let me make it a little easier and get this blood where it needs to be. These cells want to clump together. They can't carry oxygen anyway. My heart starts pounding. I get heart arrhythmias. I get, it's just all these symptoms that come out. So conductivity, that's why we say stay away from the sea salt, people. Boy, does it drive it up. Thickens the blood. Great prescription for those people who want to be on statin drugs. Oh, boy, eat all this, I can eat sea salt and take statins. I'm good. Give me some CoQ10, give me some lycopene, give me some vitamin K, give me some vitamin A, because I'm no longer going to make it, because that's shutting down those pathways. Let's talk about drug, nutrient, herbal interactions. You can go down so many pathways, people. Then you go to cell debris. And the cell debris is like, am I getting rid of the cells that are crappy? Because my body's not into repairing them. It's into replacing them. And if you can't function right, we got to get rid of you and replace you with something good. And so the thing is that if you are at perfect chemistry for a period of 6 months, that means that over a 6-month time, at 40,000 cells per 100 mLs of body fluid, or 100 mLs of urine, that you are turning around and completely replacing every cell in your body in a 6-month time frame. Well, guess what? You got a lot of crappy cells in there, and you don't have perfect chemistry. And so you're going to have to replace those cells a little bit quicker, because probably most of you have some type of health issues. And so as you start detoxifying and as you start dumping these cells, that cell debris goes up. You start holding water weight. Your kidneys get a little stressed because they have to compensate for this. You start getting a little bit swelling and stuff like that going on. But if you're not getting rid of those cells, that is an issue, because Reams called those carcinoid cells. And guess what? When you have cells that separate themselves from the control of your autonomic nervous system, they do what they want. And if you have low potassium status, you start growing tumors. And you start having these weird things happening in your body that lead to that cancer word. Okay? Do you have cancer in your body? Yes, we all do. But that's why you monitor cell debris, because your body's supposed to be getting rid of those cells. And then we look at nitrates. And those nitrates, you come out there, and those nitrates are telling me, am I digesting my proteins, or am I breaking down my body? Let's look at protein building capacity versus protein breakdown. And if you go back and look at perfect equation, 3/3, and people are like, well, my nitrates are too high. I'm running 10/6. And I'd be like, that's great, because you don't have perfect equation, because none of the numbers are perfect unless all the numbers are perfect. And if you go to understanding ranges, which we're going to go to next, that those nitrates have to go up when your body's going through a healing and restoration, because your body's got a bunch of crap. If you're not healthy, something's wrong, and it's got to go back and be able to deal with it. And as it does, it has to have the right formula to make healthy cells. Nitrates need to be up. so you can have the basic amino acid structure so you can build restorative, healthy cells while the cell debris goes up so you can dump the crappy ones. And then the ammonia nitrate gets under control. It should be slightly up, 5 or 6 compared to a 3, but not 10 or 12. So that nitrates is a big issue with me because a lot of RBTI practitioners just say healing nitrates 15 to 19 when you add them up. So if you're running 4 over 13, that's healing range 17, right? No, it's not. Not in my book, because that's excess breakdown, excess toxic metabolites. Those ammonia nitrates are toxic. Your heart will pound. You will be exhausted in the morning. You will see those are your detox symptoms. You will, so when you see those nitrates start spiking up, the body is starting to dump the crap, and the conductivity goes up with it. The cell debris goes up with it. The pHs start changing. The saliva pH starts raising up because the liver's saying, I'm getting congested. I can't handle this. The urine pH drops down because we need to get rid of this crap. The Brix goes up because of the cell destruction that you're getting rid of all this stuff. That's a detox pattern. Drink water. Take magnesium. Support this process. Get that vitamin D level up. Slow that chemistry down a little bit. Get in that sauna. Sweat this stuff out of you. Support it, enable it. So those nitrates are giving us the ability to see how well we are processing things. And so when they get too low, you're going to have potassium issues. Can't think. First thing, that brain won't work. You'll also see with high nitrates, magnesium issues, muscle twitching, can't sleep, restlessness at night, cramps. So it's like, hey, so that's where some people are like, hey, if I just look at the Brix and the pH and the other numbers are going to fall in place, I'm going to be good. For starters, heck yeah, it's not a bad place to start. But if you're having muscle cramps and heart palpitations and some other issues, you better run a full set of numbers. It gives you that picture of what's going on. So then it comes down to, okay, Doc, you just went over all this stuff. We talked about restorative range. We talked about this basic 5-phase lifestyle. We talked about each one of the parameters. So what are we doing? We look at ranges. And that's what we threw up last week. And so when she throws up range chart right now, the main thing about the range chart is to understand that we're all in a various range. And so you can look, Reams depicted ranges as giving you an idea of overall energy efficiency. Range A, 95 to 100. Range B, 75 and 95. Range C, 50 to 75%. Range D, 20 to 50. Range E, 4 to 20% energy efficient. And when you're looking at ranges, you look across the board at where all of your numbers fall in that equation. And then you mark like, hey, this one's in the D range. This one's in the B range. Hey, these two are in the A range. Woohoo! This one's in the C range. And then, but because you have one in the D range, then that's the range you're in overall. For energy efficiency, I'm only running, 20 to 50% energy efficient. No wonder I'm tired. But when you're trying to understand how to eat and what to drink, you look at the Brix for what to drink and you look at the urine pH for what to eat. The urine pH is telling you the overall efficiency of the body, and that's why we keep an eye on that urine pH, because that's telling me where am I in my ranges, A, B, C, D, or E, and whether I need to eat more BC foods or more DE foods. And the only thing that I've made different in regards to ranges is I've correlated them with your metabolic typing, which is at the bottom of this. So in range A, you're a mixed oxidizer, meaning you could eat both sides of the equation. You typically run about 30 to 40% protein, fat, carbohydrates, because you can eat a balanced diet from a standpoint of your macronutrients. But you could still have symptoms. Unpredictable appetite because you're going to swing. cravings for sweets or salty food, depending on how you're swinging. You can have aches and pains, depending, again, with a tendency towards fatigue because you're going through a healing process. That's where those symptoms are your self-awareness. What do I need to do? You don't just get in the A range and feel great. You definitely feel much better. So you could still have anxiety and nervousness primarily while you're detoxing. You can be in the A range because look at it. 1.5 to 2, 6.3 to 6.6, 6/10, 1 to 4M. Usually it's a 4M, but those nitrates, look, 10 to 12 over 5 to 7. You're dumping crap and you're trying to build cells. You will detox during A range. And that will bring on symptoms. If you look at the BC diet, look at the symptoms. You're consistent from a metabolic standpoint with slow digestion, sympathetic dominance, less appetite, sweets, can't digest the fats, tendency towards weight issues of gaining in the midsection. Often people are dependent on caffeine. They're slow and sluggish. You need to eat warming foods, leafy greens, avoid the gluten, the potato, have citrus because it'll lower those pHs. Versus the DE diet, you're going to see from a metabolic typing standpoint, the digestion's too fast, parasympathetic dominant, hungry, craving salts, tendency towards fatigue, nervousness, anxiety. Why? Because you're going to see it correlate with the numbers where you're going to see the bricks and the conductivity go out. You're going to feel wired and on edge. You're craving all the time. So you got to watch the carbs. You need the protein and fat, but if you come up there and it says you don't digest them well because your digestive juices are too stinking weak. So you need to eat easily digested proteins and fats. So what we've done is said, hey, the further you are away from the A range, if you go to E or C, if you're in the E range, you eat more 80 to 100% DE foods. If you're in the C range, you eat 80 to 100% BC foods because those foods contain the calciums that bring you back towards A. Well, why not just eat 100% all the time? Because you'll start swinging your calcium into the DE and now you just start eating those foods? No. You need both the calciums from the DE and the calciums from the BC range to get all of those calciums in your diet every day. So we choose what ratio where we eat a higher amount of BC or DE. And once you're in the A range, that A range might require you to eat 80% DE foods and 20% BC foods in order to stay there. You eat based upon what keeps you in the A range. Not just say, oh, I'm in the A range. Dang it, let's go to Red Lobster. Doesn't work that way. Throw you right back out, and you'll learn it really quick because hopefully you're becoming self-aware. And so if you look at the where it says, on the DE, it says 40 to 50% protein, 30 to 40% fat, 20% carbs. Because of that fast metabolism, you need to slow it down. Proteins and fats that are good to digest. And the focus at the top of those rules, identify your food allergies, low glycemic veggies, mono unsaturated fats because your body can deal with them. Olive and avocado oil tend to work. Avocado for the high temperature cooking, olive oil for low temperature and over your salads and stuff. Easily digested proteins it's better to eat easily digested proteins and control the amount of meat you're eating in your diet. Lemon ratio. Lemons, 1-to-9 ratio with your meals, meaning 1 ounce of lemon, 9 ounces of distilled water, and then drinking about 3 ounces of that with every meal and drinking distilled water consistently. So if Andy turns around and puts up lemons, the thing about lemons is that you will not see the overall benefits of a restorative program unless you incorporate lemons into your diet. They are 100% anionic. So when you're talking about everything being made of cations or anions, it basically comes down to things wanting to clump together or things dispersing. And the anionic is up higher. And so the brain, think about this, okay? Cationic is clumping and solid. What part of your body is just bone and muscle? Your feet. It's closest to the earth. The earth has a cationic spin to it, and the Van Buren atmosphere around us is anionic. So what part of us is closest to the atmosphere? Our brain, our heads. And what is the most jelly, least held together part of our body? Our brains. It's a big bowl of jelly, fat and just held together. Whereas our feet are solid, tendons, muscles, and bones. Cationic, anionic. Reams explained all this because we're in direct connection with this world. Schumann resonance, 7.83 hertz. That is the frequency that the earth generates when you are out of electromagnetic chaos. There is research that shows that our brains function optimally at 7.83 hertz, which is a theta brainwave. You have beta waves. Hey, that's like I'm acting today because I'm just going, baby. That's beta. My brain is good, going, active. Give me that glass of wine. Hey, dude, let's chill. Going into alpha, man. How you been tonight? What you choking over there, man? Right? Uh-huh. Wait a minute. I need that breath. I can go into theta right now. Chill, man. Epiphany! My brain just woke up. Stop laughing, Annie.
That's a great description.
And delta is sleep. So where do you meditate? You meditate in theta. Where does your brain work optimally? 7.83 hertz. That is why I wear a Nova resonator. Resonates 7.83 hertz. It's also why I wear a Q-Link. Because Q-Links strengthen the electromagnetic field around you. So I'm resonating 7.83 hertz around myself continuously. I can't take these stupid necklaces off anymore because I feel weird if I do. Interesting stuff, people. It's all energy. Lemons are needed. They are vital. They clean the liver. They provide your body with basic amino acids so you can build healthy cells. They stimulate your liver's ability to detoxify. They normalize the pH at that 1:9 ratio. It has a 6.4 pH. Guess what pH distilled water is? 6.4. Reams did this stuff mathematically to explain electromagnetically where your body works optimally. This is mathematical science that has to have some type of practicality to it in order to, like, how the hell do I really do this? And that's why I've put together all of these things in my brain, and Annie has turned around and made them into something that visually explains this stuff for you. So then we look at distilled water, and distilled water, basically, it alkalizes the body, it energizes, it solubilizes insoluble things so that your body can process and work and eliminate it and get it out of the cells. So it's helping to detoxify and cleanse the body. It has no frequency, so it adapts to your frequency at a pH of 6.4, which is the right frequency. So it can go into you and be electromagnetically what your body needs to solubilize, get rid of the crap, flush it out. But wait a minute, science says it washes out my nutrients. It's shown that it increases urine conductivity and that calcium excretion goes up. in a 2-week period. And then they never followed up after that. Of course it does. Because if you've never had it over those 2 weeks, your body's going to start dumping crap. Test it 8 weeks later. It all normalizes because your body adapts to what you give it. And it normalizes and it stabilizes that chemistry. Maybe I'm crazy, people. Annie, you can turn that off. But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just turning. It sounds like I am today, doesn't it? Dang, I better get a drink of coffee, put myself back in a beta phase. Thank you, Luke, if you're out there. All right. Let's see. Good morning, Marcia. Good morning, Linda. Good morning. I have water fasted for 1 to 2 days, and that skews my numbers. And are they still meaningful? Heck yeah, they're meaningful. It tells you how your body's processing, and you should run your numbers twice a day during your fast, at least your, everything but your nitrates. But I would run your nitrates every day in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock, and then you will watch your nitrates bottom out to less than 6 total, and then they'll spike back up to about over 12, and that's when you need to start breaking your fast because you're switching over to catabolism for a short period of time, which will convert over to just free fatty acids after about 7 days of water fasting. And your numbers will change and stabilize at that time as well. But those numbers are telling you how efficient you are with it. And if you see them crashing out, you might be drinking too much water. And because you can drink too much water on a water fast. So, yes, those numbers are vital. When you went to a retreat under Dr. Kerry Reams, guess what he did to you? He fasted you. Come in here and I'm not going to feed you. I'm going to starve you and only give you water. I'm going to make you drink some lemon in it too, because it's going to really make you sick, kick out some crap out of you. But he put sugar in that lemonade if you needed it. And he controlled your sugars. And he monitored how your body went through that process. And when those nitrates spiked, he's like, okay, we need to feed you. Your liver just purged. Look at your saliva pH. It went up and then it crashed down. Your liver just kicked and purged out. We need to start giving it food. We need to control your sugars. We need to get that calcium in you with the right foods based upon where your urine pH is. This is food science, in my opinion, people. Is there a way to tell if I'm in, I can't even say it's autophagy. I guess, not specifically in the numbers. Looking at your blood, you can see some patterns. You are a genius, Dr. Misak. They say geniuses are forgetful. Reams would say, forgetfulness is a sign of genius. Accept it. Am I forgetful? What did I say? I don't want to be a genius. All I do is take the genius people and then I put their information together and say, hey, this all makes sense. Why didn't anybody else put it together? You look at the works of what's in my book, mentioning Blavatsky and Rife and T.C. McDaniels and all the people that I mentioned in my book, they were the geniuses. They were the ones who said, look at these processes and how they work and how they break down and what happens on a cellular level. And the only person who explained it, and you can look at those numbers to see what's happening, that everything else everybody is explaining and how it's happening and when it's happening, is Kerry Reams. And the guy was thrown in jail in 15 states. The guy was told, if you claim that you are guilty, we will let you off for $500 scot-free. Otherwise, we're going to throw you in jail for the rest of your life. We already took your passport away. You're a recognized veteran, but you can't leave this country because you can't teach us anywhere else. least we have the internet today. Let's see. Nightshade family foods or lectin containing foods on Ream's no-no list. Potatoes were, because they're high glycemic. Ream's no-no list consisted of three things: high glycemic, potatoes, alcohol, popcorn, what else? Chocolate, things that irritated the digestive tract. Popcorn, black pepper, tannins in black tea, nutmeg, things that drive up conductivity. Sea salt. They didn't have Himalayan or pink salt back then. At least I never saw it around. But sea salt. And then no-no foods that were unclean foods. Reams showed mathematically that when you eat non-kosher foods, pork, shellfish, tuna, squirrel, rabbit, alligator, snakes, eels, mussels, when you eat those things, they mess up your numbers. And there's a direct pattern when you eat them that you can predict when you eat that, what food you ate, because he determined the frequency of the foods. Hey, if you stop eating tuna, you'll stop getting headaches. I remember reading Reams's book, and he tells the story of this prominent guy who was working in a hospital system, massive headaches all the time. He went and saw Reams. Reams like just run his numbers, and then Reams went to the kitchen, tell him to drink this sip this slowly over a 30-minute period, and I'll try to come in and talk to him. Finally, the guy goes in and he's like, I want to buy 5 gallons of this stuff. My headache is gone. Nobody's been able to help me. They wanted me to either quit my job, and I'm like, I'll do anything your doctors tell me to do. And I sip this stuff, and my headache is gone. I want as much as I can buy. Then Ream says, you don't need that. Stop eating tuna, and your headaches will go away. And the guy's like, I eat tuna every day. How did he know it? I made a note in my book that says, how the hell did he know it was tuna? Well, now I can kind of predict when people eat tuna. pH goes up, nitrates go up, cell debris goes up, Brix goes up a little bit, not spiking up super high. Pork, oh my God, pH 5.3 to 5.6, Brix over 6. Conductivity goes up with that Brix, depending on where you are. It can go up to 40, 50 or more. Cell debris goes up at least to a 1 or 1 plus. Nitrates go up at least to an 8 or 9. But that pH hones in at 5.3 to 5.6, and the urine pH will go up. And I'll look at somebody's numbers, and you can kind of look at the numbers and see like, oh, this is still elevated. They ate something about 4 days ago, but that's still that pH is going to stay at 5.3 to 5.6 until they actually get rid of the pork residue. It takes about 5 to 7 days for it to come out before the pH starts moving back up. And I'm like, did you eat pork about 3 days ago? No. Oh, well, I did have a couple bites of pepperoni pizza, but that's it. Just 2 bites. That's all it took. So Reams's no-nos are unclean foods, sea salt, things that irritate the digestive tract, and things that are high glycemic. So when I talk about on ranges, low glycemic vegetables, on my BCDE food range chart, I have marked all the low glycemic vegetables and say, eat all you want. Staple. These are the ones you focus in on. Bring the others in, but these are the ones you want to eat all the time. But not lectin-containing foods. Lectins are pro-inflammatory, but it doesn't mean that you're going to react to every lectin unless you already have an inflamed gut. And you can look in somebody's blood and see, hey, you've got leaky gut. Your gut's inflamed. Dairy's going to mess with you. Lectins are going to mess with you. because those already are producing inflammatory responses. But if you heal the gut by taking off the foods, by giving the body what it needs, not just take colostrum for your leaky gut syndrome and L-glutamine. It's not, you don't just have to fix it by taking stuff. You need to remove the stress and give the body what it needs to repair. Minerals. Sorry. Today I seem to be a little emotional. I'm getting in here late. Hi, everyone. Hi, Karen. You missed, I don't know. Did she miss anything? Let her know in the notes, people. Please share the necklaces and where they can be purchased. Well, Q-Links, straight off of our website, Pittsburgh Alternative Health. If you go to our links page or resellers or something, there's a link for Q-Links. Q-Links are great, people. They did have a buy one, get one free going on. I forgot to mention a couple weeks ago. That may have passed. But Q-Links are great. I prefer you buy them right off our website. Nova Resonators, they no longer make that particular one, but they're made by a company called Earth Calm. And so we did have a distributorship through Earth Calm. I got to work on how to do that, on whether we can still, I think you go through and you mention, or that we may have had a link to EarthCom. I'm not sure. But EarthCom, they have this, now it's called a sanctuary necklace. And but that's the only one that I've ever found that actually puts the body in Schumann resonance. And they're kind of weird. You put them on your body, people, and you can start having EMF detox and feel kind of weird, particularly if you put them on kids who are gaming all the time. They'll be like, I feel crappy, Mom. I just want to sleep. I got headaches. Yeah, you're detoxing EMF. Your body's trying, has adjusted electromagnetically to this constant bombardment of unnatural frequencies, and you're trying to bring the body into resonance. And as you're bringing it back into resonance, it lets you know it. Glad to finally watch you live instead of on the replay. Thank you for teaching. You're welcome. Every week. Did you see that? Teaching every week. Annie and I were just talking today whether we're going to keep doing these every Saturday or not. I might want my Saturdays back, people, because we want to be able to reach people. And people, this is just a shame. 25 people. This is a lot of time, and I appreciate everyone tuning in and watching these shows. And but I want to figure out how to get this word out. And what we're going to do is release this book, and then I might take this away from you, and say, okay, let's try to figure out how to drive people to, finding this information. And we could be thankful that it's already out here, but I don't know yet. And my son is on continuous blood sugar monitor. Betty asked me to tell you that. Please help. Continuous blood sugar monitor. Betty asked. So when you're looking at continuous blood sugar monitoring, I don't know if that means he's got a pump in him. I don't know if that, what that means, but I am going to tell you, every time he pees, he should be checking his bricks and learning the pattern on whether he's eating foods that are spiking it up and whether he's drinking enough water to keep it controlled. That's the basics of what we're talking about, is you learning your patterns, you learning how to understand what these basic numbers are telling you. And I just summed everything up again today to give you an understanding of where we're coming from. You can understand this. This is not rocket science. This is a lifestyle choice, and this is based upon you testing and analyzing and knowing. Okay, and your body, those numbers are going to change as you start applying this. And you will go into detox patterns, and you won't feel good. You'll be like, oh, this stuff isn't working for me. I've been feeling sluggish and my brain's fogged up, and I don't like this diet, this brick stuff, and I just don't feel good. My bowels keep going through cycles of getting loose, and my body doesn't do this. Yeah, because all of a sudden you're giving your body what it needs. It goes through healing cycles. You start dumping crap. You start getting diarrhea. and then you come back and you feel a little bit better for a while, and then you start feeling sluggish and foggy brained, and then you go through and say it's cyclic, people. You're pulling off layers of the onion because, Reams talked about, hey, that X factor, if you're less up to 20 years of age, 6 months, 20 to 40, 12 months, 40 to 60, 24 months, 60 to 80, 48 months, over 80, you're looking, years, people. But that doesn't, what it means is that it takes twice as much time at perfect chemistry for your body to fully restore and be like that of an ideal, perfect health individual. But it doesn't mean that it takes that long to feel better. So what you do is you get in the A range and you maintain it. And your body goes through cycles of peeling off layers of onion, and you just keep going backwards in your illness to where, wow, I feel good. It's kind of how it works. And you maintain it. And when those symptoms come on, wow, why did I eat that? Wow, I need to drink this. I got control of this because I'm aware of what's going on. I'm not having some debilitating disease take over my body. I have some debilitating disease going reverse order of the way it came into my body is what really starts to happen. And so people start the process and they start going through detox and they decide it's time to quit. Wrong answer. Whatever you had will come back with a vengeance. Do not start this unless you're really to really see it through. Because when you apply it and you get into that healthy base range, you stay in that AB range, it's like, hey, I'm good. Let's go do something. And you can eat and enjoy. And when you cheat, you deplete some reserve energy. But it doesn't mean you go straight back to where you were, because if you get back on track, your reserve energy comes back. So I hope that's a good summary. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's get out and enjoy this beautiful weather and have some fun, people. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all you do, for being out there. God bless you.